Yeah, see how they choose to play here on our Tomb of the Spider Queen. Like we still see a pretty, let's say, stock standard set of heroes being picked for this map. You still have your Malfurion. I would say Malfurion's even better on this map actually because of the hand-in points. The entangling roots, you can use it to entrap people while they're trying, so you can almost bait them onto the capture points or the hand-in points, and just any sort of follow-up play. But of course, we still see the likes of Garrosh, the likes of Genji, Maiev, again, the usual suspects.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the usual suspects that do turn up at the top of most drafts, especially on this patch that we saw throughout Mid-Season Brawl. And because it has been played throughout Mid-Season Brawl, it is a very well... everyone knows what's good on it at this point. I think we've seen enough of it from the best of the best to know what's good at it. And just interested to see where we go. I mean, or how things go, because Pleb2Pro, a good solid first game for their Premier League debut, and I'm looking forward to see if they can keep this going. They did only have Baximonium for the one game. It was coming in as an emergency sub, so they do have one of their actual players back for this next game.
Yeah, Encore is back onto the player seat, the hot seat.
Interested to see how things go with that. And I just got to give another shout out to Vikrak on that Stukov from the previous game. He was doing so much work with that. Those lurking arms were incredible, and also just the lockdown that you get at level 30, and with the virulent reaction, throwing out the pustule and then detonating on lurking arm. That lockdown is so hard to deal with. That he was controlling a lot of fights with that.
All right, Maiev has been the first ban out, has a huge win rate on this map at the moment. I think Maev's rocking like an 80% win rate here on Tomb of the Spider Queen, so early ban there from a Xylophone dudes. Pleb2Pro, how will they play this? They've actually got the second round of selections, so they can't sort of look at maybe a Johanna ban and go, we'll just get a high power, high pick character. They have to be concerned about them being taken over by XD if they did want one of those characters, Garrosh or Genji, or even if they're looking at the incredibly early Malfurion.
Well, to be fair, Johanna wouldn't be too bad of a ban away on this map. She does have a lot of value because she does bring some extra wave clear, and this is a map where early wave clear is very much prioritized because of your ability to clear the wave, get those gems, rotate, and then set up for an earlier turn-in.
But looking at that, Pleb2Pro, they've removed Genji. They played Genji last round, and it was a devastating hero that they used against Xylophone dudes. But obviously, they don't want that to fall to the side of that. So with Maiev and Genji off the table, if you're looking for a die potential, one of your only options is Tracer in this sense.
Yeah. There is a Zotal still available. There's still a few, but some of the high priority ones, just the Tracer is one you'll be looking at. So we might just see a lot more priority towards the mages and just the sustained DPS, things like the Phoenix, which we saw in the previous game. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Hanzo at some point.
Well, it makes the crazy. There you go. GL talking about the Johanna being first picked as well. So I have to check my notes there. But this does open up Pleb2Pro to get some really secure, like high-end DPS. They know Johanna's selected, so Xylophone dudes won't be looking to pick up a Garrosh or anything like that. But there is the fear of Garrosh being banned out in the next wave. Yeah,
and that is one of those heroes that you kind of want to just grab as soon as possible. The Garrosh, we wouldn't be surprised to see Malfurion and Garrosh in this rotation here from Pleb2Pro. Just two really good heroes to look past. But it's actually going to be the Blaze. So we saw it banned away in the previous series, or in the previous game. Very powerful. That bunker can just nullify so many things and keep a lot of those heroes very safe. And also he brings wave clear, he brings durability, he brings a bit of crowd control. He does so much in these lineups, and he's going to be very powerful in that solo lane.
Yeah, being able to lock out people with the bunker, just lock out so many different plays, follows up abilities. He really limits what the enemy team can successfully do on the battlefield. And then everyone pops out and uses all their own abilities in retaliation. But following up now, so we got two more picks on the side of Xylophone dudes. They've got the Johanna. They want something to back that up. This is potential to grab something like, maybe pick up the Jaina. Oh, Ragnaros and Oriel. Wow, those are two picks I was not expecting, though Rag has seen a bit of play on his Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wasn't really expecting those, but as you mentioned, of all the maps in the pool, this is probably one of the maps where Ragnaros does get the most value. He brings a decent amount of wave clear, and also his Molten Core. Pretty much wherever you use it, you're going to be able to impact multiple contentious parts of the map. So it is a strong pick for the map. I was interested to see how it's going to fill out in this composition. And the Oriel, she did start to see a little bit of a rise in popularity and success. But with an Oriel, you need to have something that can play alongside it. Something like, usually it's things like the Valor or the Gul'dan, something with a lot of consistent damage, or even to a lesser extent, I believe a Lunara was used in the past, or even I think we saw a couple of Hanzos paired with an Oriel in the past. So there are a few options, but it does kind of telegraph what your plans are for the rest of the draft.
Yeah, you do end up in a tricky situation, right? You know, if you did decide to go down the route of Jaina, her damage is so burst oriented. It's bursty. So Oriel, while she will get a big hit of energy, it's gone, and it's almost immediately gone, and she's struggling to rebuild it. So you're right, you need something that's more sustained, like Gul'dan. But if you're telling the enemy team that you want to play Gul'dan, what are you potentially going to do? You're going to take something that's effective against it. You're going to be ready for it. You might even go, I wonder if we could use Gul'dan, and we'll just counter pick it in that sense.
It would work reasonably well. I mean, the Horrifier would be quite good in dealing with a lot of that front line, and also spell damage does work well against Johanna because she is really good at dealing with auto attackers. Doesn't necessarily have a lot of those options against mages.
Yeah. So there's potentially, if that's what they're going for. But one on the side, what is Pleb2Pro going to pick up here? They've already got the Malfurion, they already got the Blaze. If it was any other game, I mean, I think Jaina would work pretty well here, and they have access to maybe something like a standard tank like Muradin, or even looking at I'd say Muradin. You wouldn't pick up ETC because it's challenging to the Johanna, unless you want to take Stage Dive.
We did see the Stage Dive in the previous game, but to be fair, that was a much larger map of Volskaya Foundry. On a map like Tomb of the Spider Queen, you want to be a little bit. You're not necessarily prioritizing globals as much, but it's an option. But there are also options like, as you mentioned, the Muradin. There's the Diablo. There's Anubarak, really. So there are a few options still on the table, but it's just you're not getting those tier ones. But it is actually going to be the ETC, and there is the Hanzo coming in for the side of Pleb2Pro.
It's really interesting.
Alrighty. Here we go. We're getting spicy with this one.
Knowing that the Tychus was off the board, right? So obviously Pleb2Pro were concerned about Xylophone dudes taking the Tychus to challenge the kind of like front line here. We see Xylophone dudes have gone, well, what a great option here. Let's take a big body like Cho'Gall. It's one of those maps where you do have the rotation going down, so you're not concerned about, say, being down a member as such in any lane, because they are going to just naturally be with the rotation. Pleb2Pro, I think, like, gee, do they go for one of those high percentile damage characters like God, heaven speak, Malfiel? Do we see him hit the board?
I think they don't need to try and just like knee-jerk react towards percentage-based damage. I think they have some reasonable tools to deal with it. But yeah,
I still feel the damage is a little bit low. They do need to take something that is going to challenge that, not necessarily in the form of percentile.
I think maybe Phoenix, to be honest, does a reasonable amount of consistent damage. It's actually going to be the Grey Man, so they want to go for, as I was saying, percentage-based damage, most likely going with that Cursed Bullet at level 10, just take a massive chunk out of the Cho'Gall, but they need to be able to follow up on that, because it's all very well and good to do a big chunk of damage to a Cho'Gall, but with that Oriel, probably going to be sticking by his side their side that whole way through.
Yeah,
that's a lot of energy going in for the Oriel. We're talking about how you need a hope generator for that Oriel so she can get a lot of her healing out. We didn't really mention Cho'Gall as one of those heroes that can actually be a good battery for her.
Yeah, and considering that this is also, we're talking about the team that has Flays on it.
Yeah, something should have clicked.
Their signature hero from last season, almost. All right, so
this is the downfall part of this lineup, most certainly.
Well, they're hoping it will be the downfall of Pleb2Pro. Can they do it? It's definitely, I've said it a couple times, said it again, the game's gone spicy. It's definitely spicy night. Tomb of the Spider Queen, we're loading into it right now. It's Pleb2Pro up against Xylophone dude. The Pleb2Pro are one score up in the series already. They only need to take this map out to win this set. XD looking to not only win this map, then go on to win a second map, a following up map as well. So, it's going to be a big series ahead for XD if they can pull it off. But we're slowly loading in to the next map.
Yeah, we'll get there in a bit.
I'm excited to see if this can pull off. If they can pull off the Chol goal, and it is Sailor and Flays sitting there as well.
So it is going to be that downfall combo coming out with that. And might as well just introduce the teams yet again. On the blue side, we do have Pleb2Pro. It is going to be Konya on the ETC, Vikarak on the Malfurion, firstly on Blaze, Physics on Greymane, and Encore is back in the roster, and he's going to be picking up the Hanzo.
All right, over the side for a Xylophone. Dudes, XD, it's Sterling on Ragnaros, Mad Hacks on Oriel, we've got Tommy on Johanna, and of course it's Flays and Sailor on Cho'Gall respectively, or should I say
Phylor.
XD Philor.
Phylor. It's always weird when you get with some of these Cho'Gall names, especially when you have all the team tags right at the front. Yeah, it just like throws it all into a bit of a mess.
Yeah, they cause a bit of excitement. So we see the both teams, just start the game with a little bit of mid lane pokes. Obviously more interested in clearing out the minions and trying to get as early rotation as possible. That's where we see Johanna really being super valuable there. Clears the wave already. They'll rotate up the top lane and just back and forth. I love to see if Pleb2Pro are going to try and slow this down somehow.
Yeah, and it's very hard for them to actually play proactive. They don't have nearly as much easy wave clear on the side of Pleb2Pro as they did in the previous game, and also as what XD do have with their lineup, with the Johanna and the Cho'Gall. They can clean them out so quickly. And we mentioned it in the previous game, those early rotations and also just being able to get some of those early, just the early proactivity is very powerful, and even more so on a map like Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Yeah. It's almost like I wouldn't say like a mistake in the draft they've taken, but yeah, it's definitely something a bit weak. They do have Greymane. He's going to be the key to a lot of their wave clearing potential if they do need to. And then try and be the ones in the lead. But you know what? Right now they're kind of happy to just trail behind XD.
Yeah, they're not really looking at this phase of the game to be where they get a lot of their advantages. They're just wanting to just at least stay in it, make sure you're securing the experience, securing a lot of the gems.
Oh, that could be a nice setup there if they did manage to connect to Vikarak. Vikarak, however, 2 on the ball. He's aware, mate. He's had his midnight coffee and he's set for action.
This is essentially how a lot of early Tomb of the Spider Queen games go. Just not a hell of a lot happening, but we do actually, one thing of note to mention is that we do have Physics on the Greymane taking care of this camp on the bottom side. It's one thing that Greymane does very well is clear out mercenary camps. That's going to be a little bit of extra pressure that certainly is going to have to try and deal with.
Yeah, especially since Blaze, firstly he's doing a great job of pushing the lane out against Ragnaros. So Blaze is 100% winning this. Blaze winning against the Fire Lord. I guess that's what happens when you specialize as the flamethrower dude. But if they're in the mid lane, look at that nice entangling roots there, slowing down XD. They didn't do any follow-up play. They don't have the damage because Greymane's away from home at the moment. But look, they're thinking about it. Bottom lane, a big pressure going on. Physics in a lot of trouble. Does have to back out here. Oh, it does the Prometheus school of running away from objects and runs in the shadow of the meteorite. Not looking healthy at all.
That was a little bit comical, just running alongside it, just taking a little bit of extra damage, but he is able to get out of there, and Tommy's actually come down to help out Sonali with some of the wave clear. I have to see who's going to be able to get the first turn in, because both sides do not have enough gems to fully get a turn in just yet, but we're very close. Already it's kind of neck and neck when it comes to the turn-ins.
We do see that Cho'Gall's got a little bit of an advantage here because they can drop that ward, the Eye of Kilrog, to sort of like monitor one of the positions. I think that's a great Cho'Gall is just proving to be such a huge value on this map right now, being able to monitor one of the hand-in points. And I think we'll actually see the first set of web weavers come out from XD.
Yeah, they do have a lot of the early advantages, at least with pressure, and they do only need this extra little turning from Mad Hacks. They don't get it though. They are able to just interrupt them for now, and have to see if Pleb2Pro can maybe get a turn in for themselves, but they do have a lot of pressure coming in the mid lane with this mercenary camp. And that is going to give a spell armor aura, so that's something that they're going to have to deal with immediately before any fight happens.
Yeah, it's going to shut down all the damage, obviously, on the side of Cho, the magical side of the Cho Gull pair. Oh no, the Gull, sorry. I apologize. The Gull.
Ooh, and it is going to be a blue Web Weaver phase. So
oh, they did manage to pull it off. That was great pressure. So that's the value behind Greymane, you know, being able to pick up those Merc camps and still put lane pressure that XD have to respond to. But look at this in the mid lane. I think we're going to see a little bit of a gank attempt. Konya goes, does get knocked back by the fist. Oh, into the entangling roots. However, they aren't able to really connect to it because it is Cho'Gall. Even if they did manage to drop onto him, they still don't quite have enough potential damage to really do anything about it. And, you know, obviously Cho'Gall wanted to get out of dodge. I didn't want to be there when the Web Weaver appeared just for extra pressure.
Ooh, a lot of damage going down onto the Cho'Gall, just taking a bit extra from that Web Weaver. But this is just all Pleb2Pro want. They just want the experience from these structures. Just grab some of those, just force away the members of XD. And it looks like they want to push a little bit further. They want to grab it. They're going to grab it as well. And they're looking for this fort while we do have the Johanna and the Ragnaros just trying to take care of the other lanes.
Yeah, look, I kind of like the play here that XD is trying. They're keeping up their experience gain with Ragnaros in the bottom and Johanna on the top. Cho'Gall is one of those characters that, you know, he is a warrior, so he does have the bruiser feel for it. The power on hold that thought. Tommy's on there, putting on a lot of disruption right now. Konya's in the bad spot, damage is building. Should be able to get away, however, gets condemned, pulled in. Fistly on the back line, however, gets onto Maddox, gets the kill, so we see trades right now. XD not looking good when the trade starts. It normally goes in the favor of Pleb2Pro, and it started. 2 members down. A great momentum shift, not even a shift, let's say a securing of the momentum game from Pleb2Pro. However, it has been countered behind that. Ragnaros will get a hand in, and we see XD now on the board with their own Web Weavers.
Yeah, we'll have to see how Pleb2Pro are going to be able to defend against this. As we mentioned, they don't necessarily have the same level of wave clear as we see on the side of XD, so they'll have to be a little bit more grouped up in wanting to deal with these efficiently. And we'll have to see how they actually deal with it, because as we're looking at the experience, both sides are pretty much neck and neck, and if these Web Weavers start taking out some of those early towers, it could be a very early level 10 for the side of XD.
Look at this great defense coming out from Pleb2Pro, however, in the top lane, stopping that Web Weaver from getting any pressure on the top line there. Tommy's up in the front now. They do need to back out because they are down any sort of front line themselves in the form of Tank, ECC, and Blaze, trying to just secure experience in the other lanes. The Web Weaver's almost here now. Now we talked about this. Level 10 has been hit. This is a big moment now, right now. XD might be able to get a big play here. Not quite. They were a little bit disjointed. The team of 5 has appeared. Tommy taking a lot of damage, but it's Johanna. She basically is damaged. Not in the form that she puts it out, but in the form that she absorbs it. And it's just sort of neutralizes now.
She does absorb an incredible amount of damage, and level 10 has been picked up on the side of Pleb2Pro, so they do have some tools to try and fight back. But they do get a good lockdown. Oh, massive!
Oh, it's big! It's good. Johanna does fall. The bunker has been popped, but the trade is happening. It was a great play there. Came out Sarah Lee's. Actually did not take the wave to the Furious Smash for a big play moment. Looking a little bit better for XD just then. They did lose a member because they trade out with ETC. I think they can play this a little bit nicer, especially with Rag falling back onto the fortification right now.
Yeah, they did use a fair bit to try and just stay alive on the side of XD. They did. It was a great Sulfurious Smash to just interrupt that mosh pit, which was locking down a lot of their key targets. And then they were able to at least get the early kill onto the EGC, but the Johanna was way too far out. A good lockdown onto her, managed to secure that kill. So, as we saw, it was a 1-for-1, but I feel as though the retreating Molten Core is not the kind of value you want out of that skill. You want to be using it, think some better situations. Like you want to deal with Web Weavers or trying to secure a turn-in or some other kind of proactive play, but it was used very defensively.
Speaking about sort of proactive plays here, we see XD now moving in with their mercenaries. A little bit of pressure. They have backed off. They could hand in behind this actually and go for double Web Weavers. Vicarak and firstly sort of detect this. They are looking now. Pleb2Pro following up, trying to deny the hand in. They have to clean up the mercenaries so they can do this nicely now. Less shield comes out from Tommy. He's gone back in. Bunker's been popped. Over XD, they're still pushing up here, trying to blow up the bunker now. teams in and out of that bunker, trying to keep that 45% armor up. I mean, doing a great job there. Konya, wow, that's a. I didn't realize that ETC into the bunker would be a 45% armor upgrade, GL.
Yeah, they get very durable, and also just ignore a lot of the damage. And interesting enough, it is going to be the Shadow Bolt volley coming out of the goal. So we see those Shadow Bolts just getting thrown out. And once we get later into this game, if we do end up getting to level 20, the upgrade for that, where it pierces, it does so much damage in these fights. You can just shred an entire lineup. You usually want to have the tank in front just taking a lot of those shots, but they can't really do anything about it. If your backline is getting hit by it, you really just have to take it.
Yeah, you can't block it. And we even look now that you're in the top lane with the Web Weaver as well, pushing into it from XD. This is a great opportunity for them to really start opening up the winning lane. Obviously, if they get this fortification, which they've unfortunately not been able to, it opens up a boss potential to be onto the keep on the side of Pleb2Pro, but doing a great job prioritizing it with almost every hero besides Blaze, who's just looking to search up experiences in the other lanes. They might trade out the bottom fortification for this, however.
Yeah, they're just not able to get there in time. The rotation just not quick enough, and the rest of XD are able to get there, clean it up, and now it looks like they want to make a play onto the bottom side. Firstly is in a bit of danger. It looks like he might get caught out.
Ooh, nice done there. Bunker's up again. He has dropped it. Bunker's about to fall, however. And this is a gold child. The Shadow Volleys come out. Beep down. Twilight Dream comes out, shutting it down. We see the stage of the couple of cold chokeout keeping alive. Taking a lot of damage, however, backs out behind that Tommy and Mad Hatch necessarily, taking a lot of damage onto the fortification. Back down, no, Tommy's gone back in. They want to re-engage. Communication's strong. They're following up.
Oh, the mosh pit.
Konya drops the mosh pit, locks out Oriel. That's bad right now on the side there. Unfortunately, they aren't able to get the kill, and ETC does fall for his efforts. Blaze, the next two. Talk about a potential communication split. Game number one, we saw a situation where XD kind of overextended, and they were the ones to pay for it. That time, we actually saw Pleb2Pro. Konya was the one that overextended, made the play, and unfortunately got punished for it.
Yeah, the damage follow-up was just not really there. When looking at these heroes of Greymane and Hanzo, they don't have, well, they don't necessarily have that massive just wow factor coming off of a mosh pit. They just weren't able to really make the play happen, and Konya was already dropped so low as Or. They're trying to get an engagement onto him.
Yeah, nice. Look at that. They got to go on the encore. Encore is going to fall. They've got no harm for the next fight. Big crack on the health. Doesn't get to the bunker. Gets taken out. The bunker is destroyed. There's no little wall now. Konya isn't going to be able to escape. Does manage to get out with the power slide and the face melt, but behind that physics, what a man. He has slowed down the game for Pleb2Pro GL by handing in his gems for a Web Weaver summon.
Yeah, and that's essentially all it's going to be with this Web Weaver, is just slowing down the pace of the game. They've been put into a bit of a hole at this point. They're just not able to get the fights to go in their favor. There's too much HP in front of them. And yes, the Curse Bullet is good at taking a chunk out of the Cho'Gall, but the Oriole is going to be healing the map pretty efficiently with a lot of the hope being generated by that Cho'Gall. So it's very hard to push through this lineup. And Pleb2Pro, they're just not able to get the fights to go in their favor.
Yeah, it's not a strong choice, but it's just, they can't chip away Cho'Gall enough. The bullet is great, but they then don't have a big follow-up play. Hanzo's is a decent character, but he doesn't really feel like against the Cho'Gall he's going to be much help in the sense of getting a lot of damage out. Even
yeah, a lot of his damage is you want to be having those extended skirmishes where you are going to get successive uses of those scatter arrows and really poke down and shred down your opponents. But with the amount of healing and sustainability that this lineup has on the side of XD, it's just not really having the same amount of value. And now we're seeing Pleb2Pro, they have to be very cautious. They are down a talent tier, and they're just trying to avoid whatever XD are going to bring to them. So they will be giving up this camp on their side of the map, but they're trying to get their way back into it by taking down some of these structures.
You know, it's a good play here because they're forcing XD to come to them. Unfortunately, it does mean they are forcing XD to come to them. It has the talent lead, and we see their pressure going on now. XD's in, Cho'Gall's on the back, pressuring out Malfurion, having a hard time. Oh, nice mosh pit against 3 people. That's what they were looking for.
Perfect.
The Pro starting to get the kills now. Ragnarok's the only one to fall, but no doubt we can see Tommy and Mad Hacks fall next. They don't really have great mobility to escape this. Cho'Gao will live, but wow! What a play! What a turn! That's what Konya was hoping to do earlier in this map.
Yeah, and that's essentially that's what they need to be doing with these heroes. They had in the previous fights they were not able to keep them locked down for long enough, and at that point, once the mosh pit ended, they all just died. No one was getting taken down throughout the duration of the mosh pit, and they just turned around and just wiped off face of the planet. But that fight, they were able to follow up on the mosh pit much better, and also the dragons are coming right at the end of it to continue that lockdown, just not allow some of that healing coming out from the Oriole. That's what sealed the deal in that fight.
Oh, it was massive. You know, it started with the blaze. You know, like the opening act was the bunker. The mid solo was the the mosh pit, and the dragon arrow. Oh, it's just beautiful to behold. The top lane here, however, nice use for Rag, using it to take out the boss damage and the boss itself as well. Hopefully can protect that fortification. Probably won't be able to. Pleb2Pro backing up now, looking to just grab the fortification and back out. Boss is still alive though, so they can push with it. Opting for that, trying to put pressure into this top lane. XD retreating right now, not wanting to risk anything just yet.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that use of the Molten Core. They only stalled it out for a rather minimal amount of time, because when you're in Molten Core, you still, like, it does go down if you just keep on attacking it. And the boss was able to shred it rather efficiently, and they got very little value out of that. They wanted to hold on to a lot of their front wall on that keep, but it just seems like you could have used it in a much more efficient fashion, and especially for something like this, what they're going to be putting up against right now, the blue web weavers coming in. I feel that this would have been a better opportunity for it. Maybe throw it into mid lane and then try and impact, clear out the waves on both sides of the map. Could have been a more viable use of it, but we'll have to see how it pans out, because they are still even in talents, and they still have that very strong team fight that we've been seeing so far.
Yeah, no, it's a nice situation for Pleb2Pro right now, but it's not necessarily game-winning or game-changing unless they manage to get a wipe on XD if they overextend. Everyone in XD is in the top lane. They are prioritizing this with their lives. Tommy going out does use his unstoppable trait to get through the entangling roots. Right now, they take out the web weaver. We do need to see Pleb2Pro back away from this. They cannot challenge this lane anymore. But the mid lane, the web weaver's almost down, GL, and the bottom lane one's not looking that much healthy either.
Yeah, the camp that was taken by the side, or actually they are going to go for a fight.
Oh, that's it. A lot of damage on the Tommy. It is Johanna, however, can absorb a lot. Has to bag it, however. The pressure is building now. Pleb2Pro doesn't necessarily want to push in this. They do have a web weaver in the bottom. They can get more valuable. So you see they are rotating. However, a nice rotate down there for Tommy, trying to clear out as many of the minions as possible. They can try and turn this into a fight. They're really split right now, however, XD. This could be a scary situation, but they are starting to push out now. The team has rocked up. Can they do something? Oh, they're looking a bit forced here. They've had to back out. Cho'Gao, Tommy could fall behind this. Nice slide. Oh, that's a good stage there. Holding down a Dragon Arrow. Perfectly timed. Gets the stun. That's not looking good for XD right now. We can see Pleb2Pro continue this pressure a little bit, even with the Shadow Volley coming out from Cho'Gao.
Yeah, a really good turnaround. They saw the opportunity. Massive signs coming out from the Cho'Gao, just forcing away pretty much everyone on the side of Pleb2Pro. They have to be careful, because those silences are deadly. And yeah, just really good follow-up, managing to take down the Johanna. And here comes the Molten Core, and this should force away the members of Pleb2Pro.
That's it, you know, come back next time. However, they are sticking around. They've seen that they might be able to get a kill on Cho'Gao here. Bring on the damage. Oh, so close. The heal comes out. It's semi-clutch. You know, there was no follow-up damage about to hit Cho'Gao, but it was nicely timed. That keeps him alive there. Pleb2Pro, very disciplined, you know, not trying to force it and run into the Ragnaros. Nice plays there. This is almost a different looking XD from the first game. They've really cleaned up what I believe is their communications, and they're really supporting each other in these fights.
Well, it's a little bit easier to clear up the communication when you're very... Your strategy is very almost one track. You have this Cho'Gao and the Oriole pretty much strapped to their back. You have this... It's hard to be on different pages when you're trying to play into this kind of strategy. So we're talking about the kind of misplays in communication with this team. This might be one of the solutions. Just play Cho'Gao strategies, and it forces your team to be on the same page.
You are so savage, yeah. You are so savage. Credit given when credit due, mate. All right, so Pleb2Pro poisoning themselves right now, getting a hand in. They do have a lot of gems, but it's nowhere near enough to get another set of web weavers. It would steal the game. It would basically hand them the game, I believe. XD have all the gems, however, they could get a hand in if they could get out of their base.
Yeah, almost a full turn in just on the Cho'Gall alone. But they do have enough for it, but they're just not able to get out of their base at this point. They don't have a molten core to work with, so Satellite is going to start trying to make a bit of an impact in these fights, but not able to do too much with it. And yeah, this is also level 20 coming out for the side of Pleb2Pro. Level 20s are just about to hit on XD, so that is going to be a massive power point for them as well, and that's when they want to start taking some of these fights.
Yeah, you know, if Pleb2Pro were looking for a big play right now, it would be something before level 20. They can't do it now. Both sides are still pretty equally matched. You know, we're looking at a game where both sides they'll have all their all three keeps on each side, and they're all level 20. You know, it's been pretty nice. The boss camp, however, could change this, but it has been detected. Tonya acting as
yeah, too slow to the
punch. Block them out now. They're not going to be able to respond to the boss, but can they do a big play here? You know, sometimes you see teams do this, opting not to be a little bit risky there. Ooh, that's looking not nice. You know, Johanna's in the back line there, low damage onto Tommy right now. They are following up, trying to keep him alive. Nice kill out of Oreo. Oh, they get the kill onto Malfurion. There's no support now for Pleb2Pro. This is a turning point in the favor of XD. If they get another kill, securing the ETC, there is very little frontline support. Blaze was not there to back up the team. Moving to the mid lane, they do need to go back to deal with this boss, but this is XD's moment to add more pressure onto the map. We see Ragnaros and Johanna doing that, while Cho'Gall and Oreo go on and pressure this top lane.
Yeah, they're just using the modern core again to just hold on to this keep because they want to keep it alive. And if it does go down, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be another pressure point for the side of Pleb2Pro. But that was a brilliant fight coming out, and that's what we were looking for. The Shadow Bolt volley with the Shadow Fury upgrade. It did so much damage and so hard to actually deal with outside of just jump into a bunker. But even then, the bunker will just go down incredibly quickly. It's very hard for them to deal with. And with that Malfurion down, as you mentioned, the rest of the fight just cascaded out of control for Pleb2Pro, and really well done there for XD. Able to get the fight on the back of that boss. They do manage to hold onto their keep, and it's very low HP on that keep, but they also get a good turn in for them. So now it's momentum back in their favor.
Yeah, and we're looking at mid lane, like, you know, as in the mid of the lane point of the web weaver for a lot of this stuff here, except for the mid one that is going to go straight to the tower line in the mid. This is looking really good here. XD should be able to just walk this web weaver in the top lane into that. They might be able to convert it to a keep death as well, maybe, depending on how well they can keep Pleb2Pro out from damaging it. It could go either way right now. Looking good for XD, but still anyone can take this game out.
Yeah, and one thing to note is that the 16, we're not seeing the usual 16 from the Hanzo. They actually gone for the Giant Slayer, a talent that doesn't really ever get picked up outside of situations like this, where you have a Cho'Gall. Oh, look at that Shadow Volley.
That volley! Oh, GL, that is going to town. You saw like about half the roster of Pleb2Pro just lose half their life, as all those shots just cascaded through them. That was like a fat kid in a ice cream shop, you know, just going through all the buckets of ice cream. That was a ton of damage there. They managed to get the keep. That is now a lane of catapults. Pleb2Pro's they've got really
almost the bottom lane as well. They're not going to be able to get there in time, and that is going to be a second keep. So a massive push coming out for XD, and that's going to be the end of the web weavers. But they're going to have that pressure for the rest of this game, and Pleb2Pro, they need to try and get a good fight, because right now it's just not really working out for them. The Unstoppable was used, and they're trying to get locked down.
Oh, there we go. But the face comes out there. It's going to keep it alive now. Ragnaros still early, doing a great molten core there. Can be very aggressive with this. But obviously for a defensive ability to keep Tommy alive. But you know, good. You know, when you can be defensively offensive.
You're kind of playing in both camps. And also, it did give a bit of an opportunity over to XD to try and make a play onto the core. But, oh, there we go, a good lockdown. Oh, the silence, though.
Oh, very nice play there, just really locking him out. We see the Shadowbot volley come out again. They get a kill onto ETC. This is it. This is XD's moment to close out the game. They do find physics. Oh, they're trying to. Cho'Gall just missing, looking for the kill there. Finally connects. That's 2 down now on the side of Pleb2Pro. This is looking like an XD second game of victory, which means we're probably going to go to 3 games, GL.
Yeah, it's looking very likely at this point with the Greymane and also the ETC down. I find it very hard to believe they're going to be able to hold on to this. Encore is trying to do as much as he can with all of these arrows, and they're doing a decent amount of work. Vikrak and Firstly trying to just take care of as much of the supporting cast. But the core is taking damage. A good engagement, a great Twilight Dream, and the damage is starting to come through.
Oh, are they going to cost them their dreams? Look at this. It's a great defense by these 3 players right now. It was a great jet propulsion there from Blaze, getting a nice 3-man stun, but they're still bringing damage. They should be able to take out the core. And that's game 2 going in favor of XD. That game was real. That was I felt that we saw an early shakiness from XD. It was almost like a reverse situation from game 1, where XD looked like they're a little bit on the back foot, but they've managed to secure it, get some wins, some desperate plays from Pleb2Pro not working out for them. Them being over aggressive, GL, wow, has seen this series go to all 3 games. You know what, GL, when we talked about Pleb2Pro being one of the teams to watch out for, we did make the small comment that, like, you know, we shouldn't count out the side of the Xylophone dudes, because they are 2 of the most promising teams from phase 1 coming together. And this is the promising plays. They have fresh drafts, fresh ideas, and that game there, I really feel that they just weren't, not that they weren't aggressive, but I'll say it again, there was a quick paradigm shift. Was that because they had the Cho'Galls, they only had 4 heroes to worry about, so it was an easier game for them as such? Or is it the fact that they got rid of the jitters of game 1 and they showed up to game 2, and you know what, we're going to find out in game 3 exactly where the cookie crumbles for this team.
Yeah, it did feel as though something really shifted, and a lot of it had to do with the draft. I mean, of course, things are going to be very different if you go from a standard 5-man roster to a Cho'Gall draft. Things most definitely are going to change, but it did seem not just in the way the compositions played out, but also just in their mentality. You mentioned that they seemed it's a bit of a shift from the previous game, from the first one, where they'd be in the advantages for those early games and then make a play which kind of cost them. It seemed a little bit in the inverse. They were kind of not in the best. I mean, they controlled a lot of the early rotations, but they weren't able to really make those killing blows. And there were opportunities for Pleb2Pro to get back into the game, but they didn't it didn't spiral out of control as we had seen before from them.
No, you know, they kept it up the entire way, and it was a great game. Like, it's I was supposed to have to check how long that game went for, but the time is now bugged out for me. Was that like I think it was like a 25-minute game, maybe a 30-minute game? That was intense.